Welcome in, Bison Nation, to a very special Valentine's Day broadcast. And on today's newscast, we will cover all the latest in both campus and local news, including the grand opening of a massive project right here on campus, a scary story out of Detroit Lakes Middle School, and a growing concern in D.C., and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back, Bison Nation. Now, it is an understatement to say that it is a big week for both casual and competitive gamers alike here on campus, as NDSU has just announced the grand opening of its brand new Esports gaming lab. The lab will be open to all of campus tomorrow at 4 p.m. with President Cook to deliver remarks at 4:30. Now, the gaming lab will consist of 36 gaming computers, consoles, a shoutcasting room, and top-of-the-line keyboards, mice, and headsets. The lab will be open to the public student body, but it will give priority to clubs who reserve it ahead of time. The open house will be held at Ladd Hall 316 with a showcase of the capabilities of the new equipment to follow President Cook's speech. There will also be some refreshments available, and I know for one that I myself will be there. But the Thursday theatrics won't stop there, as the Challenge Institute will be showing the film Undivide Us, as the film challenges the idea that citizens who disagree are not capable of civil conversations with one another, and that, even with all our differences, the American experiment is still alive and well. The film also exposes the power players in Washington, D.C. as the true disruptors of peace and those who benefit from the chaos and division in everyday life. The screening will start at 7 in the Luis Auditorium in Berry Hall, with popcorn provided, of course. And following the screening will be a Q&A with Ben Klutzy, who is featured in the film and will also give a presentation the following day on polarization and pluralism. The event is free and open to the public, and we hope to see you all there. And we lead off our local news tonight with a cautionary tale for all those sending their children off to public schools after an incident in a Detroit Lakes Middle School. At the end of the school day on Tuesday, graffiti was discovered inside a girl's bathroom stall. The writing on the walls included several references to self-harm, along with a threat involving the school. Now, as a preventative measure, school officials will meet all students at the door before they enter the building and search both their bags and backpacks. The Detroit Lakes Police Department will also work alongside the middle school, along with having officers posted inside the school until the issue is resolved. Now, if you or anyone else has any information, please call the middle school at 218-847-9288. And our other story tonight involves a disease emerging out of Grand Rapids, as the Minnesota Department of Health recently confirmed the outbreak of Legionnaire Disease linked to the city water supply. The disease is caused by inhaling the bacteria found within the water, but in rare cases it can spread from person to person. Now, the city's public utilities manager has stated that they plan to flush out and disinfect the water system to reduce the risk of Legionella, of which there have been 14 confirmed cases since last April. Now, some symptoms of the disease are very similar to pneumonia, as they include a fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle aches, and headaches. Symptoms will typically develop 2 to 14 days after exposure, but they can be treated with antibiotics. If you believe you suffer from Legionnaire disease, please see and consult a doctor right away. And our first national story tonight pits North Dakota against the federal government, as the state argues that it is entitled to compensation for damages during the Dakota Access Pipeline protests. The state has been in an ongoing battle over recouping $38 million in damages tied to a protest south of Mandan between 2016 and 2017, and they claim that the federal government and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers failed to contain the protest or assist law enforcement, resulting in the damages. Also, according to the lawsuit, activists illegally occupied federal lands and engaged in unlawful, destructive, and violent acts. And the lawsuit goes on to state that North Dakota was left without any assistance to protect public safety and clean the very land that those activists sought to protect, but ended up trashing in the end. Now, if there are any major changes in the case, we'll be sure to update you as soon as we are able to. And our last story tonight focuses on growing uncertainty surrounding President Biden and his ability to continue to serve, after Special Counsel Robert Hur released a report last week recommending that no charges be pressed against Biden's actions related to his mishandling of documents due to his defense as being a sympathetic, well-meaning, and elderly man with poor memory. Questions have begun to heat up. The The assertion led to growing scrutiny over the Biden's age and mental abilities, especially among Republicans. But Vice President Kamala Harris has stated that she is ready to serve. Several other Democrats have backed her up, saying she's doing a solid job and that her responsibility is to be ready. However, Republicans have been quick to point out that Harris is basically admitting that Biden is unfit to serve. Representative Monica de la Cruz of Texas went on to state that the American people don't need 4 more years of Biden and certainly not 1 day of Harris. Others have gone on to claim that a Harris administration would be a disaster, referring to her mishandling of her border responsibilities and public speaking slip-ups. What is for certain is that with America in a more tense position than ever before, the country desperately needs a strong and capable leader. Who that will be for the next 4 years will remain to be seen over the next couple of months. Well, that concludes our news from this past week. After the break, Vinny will have all the latest in Bison sports, including yet another overtime performance from one Bison team, along with the kickoff of the softball season and women's golf. Also, stick around to see where the crew was headed for this past week in Fargo Food Tour. Don't go away.
Let's take this out of the studio and hit the roads as we explore Fargo and discover the best restaurants in town. There's a wide range of foods to explore here. We will help you discover some delicious food finds in this new series that we like to call Fargo Food Tour.
My name is John Chadwick. I'm the general manager.
Brent Suing, co-owner and managing partner of Herd and Horns.
Another pizza dog.
Cheers.
All right, we're about to try these pizza rolls. Go check out the review on pizza rolls and all the other amazing foods that they had to offer on Fargo Food Tour, Episode 4. Go check it out. I'll see you there.
My name is Becky Parker, and I'm a news anchor at WDAY-TV. I graduated from NDSU in 2010 with a degree in journalism, broadcasting, and mass communication technologies, and then I had an emphasis on broadcasting. Principles of broadcast production and advanced broadcast production. Those were favorites because they were the most relevant for career experience. You're calling people for interviews, you're writing an article. It doesn't just feel like an assignment, it's like actually doing it. I was the news director for the first full semester of the Bison Information Network. The BIN advisor here was very much invested in me to actually have a career in broadcasting. He helped me get my internship and my first job. The people in NDSU's Department of Communication are really interested and helpful in getting students the connections that they need in order to get a job beyond school.
No kid deserves to go hungry, but try as they might, not every family can afford to put food on the table every day. That's why the Great Plains Food Bank and their partner agencies work every day to bring food to our hungry neighbors. Every dollar donated can provide 4 meals for those in need. Go to greatplainsfoodbank.org and donate today so no kid in North Dakota ever has to go hungry.
Welcome into your very own Bison Sports Report. There is a lot of love in the air, and if you're a big Bison fan, you'll be loving these games. Let's get straight into the men's basketball, where they first host the Kansas City last Thursday. As we take a look
at the Summit League standings. NDSU currently sits at 8, although with a win tonight, they could jump to the number 6 spot. NDSU is currently 10-13 and 3-5 in conference play. Going over the players to watch for NDSU, Bolden Stumberg. Last time he played this team, he scored 23 points and looking to do the same tonight. As on the other end, Jamar Brown, who's been their best player as of late. Something about this Bison team is their performance in overtime, as they are 4-1 in these games. Heading into tip-off, NDSU wins and score 2. But now, going in, Stumberg passes it to Morgan. Morgan hits his 3. While Jakari White goes down the court, passes it out to Morgan. Morgan scores over 3 Kangaroos. Morgan now passes it out to Jakari White, and Jakari White hits his 3. You see the Bison are pumped up about that one. Now, Waddles is guarded out heavily as he passes it out to Federson, and he drains it. With 54 seconds left on the clock, NDSU down by 3, needing the score. Passes it out to Waddles, goes in, takes it in for an easy 2. In the second, Stumberg feeds it out after getting guarded to Morgan as he hits a 2. As Deja Vu would strike again, as Morgan would hit another 2, but this time getting the and 1. Just when you thought the Morgan streak was over, he hits his 3rd from the paint in a row. NDSU Bison looking to score, down by 5, trying to find an open shot. Finds White, hits his 3, and now down by 2. The Bison trying to now find themselves up by 1. Stumberg with a triple team with a hook shot, and he banks it. Puts the lead up to 3. The Kangaroos quickly respond with a 3 of their own, tying the game at 68-68. Skipping ahead to the end of the 3rd, Jakari White trying to make the game as he heads into the field and scores the 2. Stumberg now with an up-under as he hits from the paint. Casey could not handle being down by 5 as they made it a 5-point game into a 2-point game with a 3 right here. And they forced overtime, as going into overtime with 14 seconds left, trying to stall out. Miller trying to stall this game out. Casey fouls him, brings him to the foul line, and he can make the first one. But can he put the game away with this second one? Yes, he can. As he put up the Bison by 4 as Casey makes their best effort in the comeback, but failed to do so with the shot, and the time has expired. NDSU comes away with another overtime win as the final score ends up being 82-78, climbing to the number 6 seed in the conference. Leading the way for the Bison was number 34, Andrew Morgan, with 30-plus points in the night and 5 rebounds. Now heading on to the second game, the Bison were making moves and trying to build on a great win, with the Bison playing Omaha. Let's take another look at the standings. The Bison are at the 6th seed now. With a win here, the Bison could make another jump, as it was a win and get the 4 seed. Players to watch was Andrew Morgan, as he's sitting at 19 points per game and 5 rebounds through 5. For Omaha, for Frankie Findler is another one to watch. Now, as we go into tip-off, the Bison lost as the game went underway. NDSU main starters out on the court, who will lead the Bison to a win in this one, as Jakari White passes it inside to Morgan as he scores the first points of the night. Now down by 2. The NDSU looking to score. Finds Stumberg in the corner for the 3, and he drains it. Jakari White now with a drive in. Passes it out to Burke, finding him for the 3. As the 3 have been the trend all day. Jakari White shoots his three, and he drains it. Now, Feddersen wants a piece of this action, so he finds himself wide open, making the three. Now, tied up at 25-25, Waddles continues his three streak with the one of his own, pulling the Bison ahead. Now, with 16 seconds left, Bison up by one. Wheeler Thomas drives in and decides to pass it out to Feddersen as he extends the lead to 4 points. Bison carrying over what they did in the first as Wheeler Thomas pulls up for the two, and it's good. Nothing new with Deja Vu as Morgan standing open with a three, and he drills it. NDSU up by one. Feddersen out to Wheeler. Can he hit his threes as well? Yes, he can. Trying to make a quick score as White passes it out to Stumberg. Stumberg drills a wide open three. Bison now up by 5, 13:40 to go. Jakari White looking for a shot. Hits a three, and he drills it. Now up by 8. Bison trying to make a play as it passes it out to Waddles, and he can make history with another three. Putting up the Bison by 2. Now Morgan coming in with a slamming dunk. NDSU trying for more plays. Morgan kicks it out to Stumberg. Stumberg with a wide open three, and he gets it. As NDSU finds Feddersen as he drives in for a wide open dunk. Now the Bison cut the lead by 3. Miller gets a foul, looking to put the game away. As can he put the game away with his free throws? He hits the first one, and can he make the second? Yes, he can. Now the Bison are up by 5. Omaha tries to make something happen as they hit a three of their own, drawing the game down to 2. As mentioned earlier, you got to watch out for Finland as Omaha down by 2. 4 seconds to go. Game-winning shot on the line. Finland takes a shot, and it's off the rim. No good. The Bison recover. That is the game. NDSU hangs on for the win, 81-79. Findler for Omaha just could not live with himself after the game. Now the Bison move up to 4, and UND drops to KC. How far can NDSU climb? A key player for the Bison was Bolden Stumberg with the most minutes and scored 13 points on the night. As NDSU has been on a roll, looking to climb the ladder as they head off to Oral Roberts tomorrow at 7 p.m. You can watch it on Summit League Network and also listen to it on 107.9 The Fox. Unlike the men's basketball games, the women's games were not even close. The Bison blew out Kansas City 70-59, with the key players of the game being Heaven Hamling, as she was 6 for 6 on free throws. As the women travel for yet another game, they were on a mission and completed it, as they would not give Omaha a chance, as they would blow them out of the water as well, with the final score being 84-70. The star in this game was Abby Kowinski, as she was 6 for 7 at the field. After the women traveled twice, they are looking for a homestand as they host Oral Roberts at 7 p.m. You can watch this in person or stay tuned on Summit League Network. You can also listen to it on Bison 1660. Are you interested in basketball being talked more in depth? You should go check out Bison Overtime, where Logan and I discuss Bison sports and professional sports more in depth. Speaking of which, I got a chance to sit down with the founders of Bison Overtime. Let's take a look.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm calling Malik. Malik's like, I don't know what to do. Call Alexis. I call Alexis. She's like, I don't know what to do. So I ended up calling NDSU police.
And then we went from there, and I had no clue what I was doing, but
it was cool seeing people create stuff.
Video will be on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. We thank them for their taking time out of their busy schedules to sit down with us. Speaking of groups that have had a busy schedule, we take a look at NDSU track and field as they were active this past weekend. They had to handle 2 invitationals this weekend, one at Boston and the other at SDSU. For the men, Blake Nutty won his 60-meter hurdles, and Ethan Moe had a PR in the mile in Boston. Meanwhile, at SDSU, Jake Erison set a career best in the 500-meter, and Michael Hugo won the long jump. Jumping to the other team, as NDSU track was also in Boston, where Nell Graham won the 200-meter with her, Kendra Kelly, Bailey Dirks, and Casey Cooper winning the 4x4. Going over to SDSU, Bison had 2 athletes on the podium taking first place in the pole vault. From women's sports to another women's sports, let's turn it over to NDSU softball. Over the past weekend, they faced Furman on Friday. The Bison seemed to struggle in the first game as the Bison scored in the second inning, but that's all they could do. After giving up 4 total points in the middle stretch, ending up losing to Furman 4-1. Looking for a double-header on Saturday, the Bison faced Queens and ended up getting shut out, and they were only held to 1 hit on the day with a final score of 3-0. After a rough start, NDSU needed to turn things around as they went to face Northern Kentucky. Things seemed to be the same until the last 2 innings, where the Bison went off scoring 5 runs and holding the North to 2, ending up winning their first game of the year 5-2. Lastly, on Sunday's doubleheader, they faced DePaul, with the Bison coming out on ahead, beating them in the 5th inning, scoring 2 runs and ending the game with a score of 3-2. Last game of the weekend was against UNC Willington, with the Bison having the bats going, hitting 7 hits and 5 runs, ending up winning the game 5-1. Now, the Bison have a tough matchup ahead of them as they travel to number 10 ranked Duke. It is happening right now at Duke Softball Stadium. Lastly, another event that is happening right now is women's golf, as this is the last day of their series stretch. On Monday, the Bison faced off against St. Thomas and lost 3-2. On Tuesday, they faced Portland and beat them 4-1, and currently they are facing Seattle right now. Leah Shakar is having a good stretch as she has beaten every opponent so far, as I hope I didn't just jinx that. Another thing I hope I did not jinx is our weather, because oh boy, has it been shorts and t-shirt weather. I hope you've been enjoying the 30s and 50 degrees weather of late. Ethan, is that a trend that we can see continuing, or did we just get a false spring?
I'm filling in for Henry on weather today, as he's busy doing what he typically does when he's off camera, singing and dancing. So, to start off our weekly forecast, we can see that today we've got a broken clouds atmosphere outside there with a temperature of roughly 25 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll feel like more 23 with some of that wind chill, and we've got a pretty solid humidity at 61%. In addition, you can see that with our hour-by-hour forecast, those broken clouds and cloudiness will stay through the night, and it'll start clearing up by morning there, so we might get a nice viewable sunshine as things come around. For our skycast, you can see that we've actually got about 10 hours and 16 minutes of sunlight every day. That's slowly ticking up, thankfully, with our sunrise starting at 7:30 a.m. and our sunset going down at roughly 6 p.m. And then with our moon phases, you can see that we've got a waxing crescent right now, and coming up is our first quarter moon phase, so be on the lookout for that. Should notice that with it being a little bit brighter out that night. For our almanac, today's temps had a high of 30 and a low of 20, with the average temps on this day in previous years being a high of 22 with a low of 4 degrees. And in addition, our record temps actually were 43. So we're hovering a little bit beneath that. And the low, which looks awful, was negative 33 degrees Fahrenheit. That's North Dakota if I've ever seen it. And for the full country forecast, you can see that, of course, the South is having a great old time, especially down in Florida here at the tip of the state, where they're having a great time in the 70s and rough 60s. There's definitely no snow down there. And we've got some of the worst temperatures over here in Maine, as well as down in the New York region. As well as up here in the Midwest, where we typically get the short end of the stick, but all of that is to be expected. Looking at the country, you can see that we've actually got some snow that's coming in to hit the southern end of South Dakota, as well as a little bit of Nebraska and Iowa. In addition, we've got Maine getting hit by snow all the way up in the northeastern corner of the country once more. For my 7-day forecast, you can see that this Thursday, tomorrow, we've got 22 degrees, and then it dips down by Friday into 17. And luckily, Vinny, to answer your question, we do start to see some rising temps a little bit from Saturday through Wednesday, starting at 33 degrees, moving all the way up to 43 by Wednesday. So hopefully those weather patterns stick around, and we're lucky enough to be a little bit over freezing, and we can walk around between our classes without too much winter gear on. For our national days, we've just started the first day of Lent with Ash Wednesday. We've got Valentine's Day, and it's actually the perfect day to donate a kidney. So make sure you get out there and give your organs away for free, because it is the Organ Donor Day. So make sure you're doing your service as a public agent of health. Thank you. Back to you, Vinny. That's all I've got.
Well, thank you so much, Ethan, for the weather report. That is going to do it for this week's newscast. If you are interested in watching our past broadcast or other featured shows, they're all on YouTube at Bison Information Network. On behalf of everyone in the studio, happy Valentine's Day to all. Whether you are single or have a partner today, go out and celebrate with your loved ones. Peace out.